Hi, it's Tim. This is Quantum Composer, and in this video I'm going to show you how to set up a channel strip for control. So in control, by default, you have 15 channels, and channel 16 is reserved for MIDI control to other MIDI generating devices. But of the 15 channels, you can set them up and label them to be whatever you want. And once you've set them up, you might want to create a channel strip with some basic controls that you will have on each of these channels. The idea of doing this is to create a repository of channels that you can import and get started quickly and easily without having to remap MIDI controls. So each channel transmits on a separate MIDI channel, but has a lot of common mixer channels, mixer parameters, and each of these parameters transmits on the same CC across every channel. So in the settings mode, you can see here I've got these 5 yellow icons, and these represent the standard mixer controls for each channel. By clicking on them, this first one, for example, mixer volume pan, I can see that I can control the volume, pan, gain, and mid side of the track. And by clicking on another channel, I can do the same for that channel. So now adjusting this will be adjusting channel 2. In this case, I only have one channel set up for this example. Going back to channel 1, I can now control the volume again. Now, I'm going to show you how to set these up. One advantage of doing so is, like I said, you can import your channels, but you can also use a channel reset mixer button, which is the one down in the bottom right. And if I press that, it asks me to confirm. If I press again, it just resets all my channel strip to its default values. So that can be quite handy. So let's go back to mixer volume pan, and let's see how we map those. If I move the volume knob, it shows me that it's mapped to channel 1 CC7. So this is what I want to map my channel strip to. And if I wiggle the pan knob, it tells me it's mapped to CC8. The gain knob's mapped to CC6, and the mid side is mapped to CC9. If I switch to a different channel, those numbers are exactly the same: 7 for volume, 8 for pan, 6 for gain, and 9 for mid side, but it's on a different MIDI channel. So coming into OMS MIDI control, selecting channel 1, you can see that volume is already mapped to channel 1 CC7, and pan is mapped to CC8, gains mapped to CC6, and mid sides mapped to CC9. So it's just a matter of coming into our AUM MIDI control and mapping these parameters. So you can do that for the volume pan section. There's 4 sends. So down here I have a send map, and I can control that here, like so with the knob, and you can have up to 4 sends. In the EQ section, I have mapped for this channel strip a high pass filter and a low pass filter. But you can also map a low EQ and a high EQ. And then in the FX tab, you have 4 controls that you can map to your FX devices, and then you can control them from here. So you'd add a device to your channel strip, and then you can map these parameters, which are CC 117, 118, 119, and 120, and then you'll be able to control those from control in this mixer section. And lastly, there's the Mute Solo Arm tab, and by moving the first knob I can move to mute, solo and arm, and I can then mute any of the 15 channels from here. So I can press channel 1 to mute channel 1, channel 2 to mute channel 2, or I can channel 1, or I can arm channel 1. So this is quite handy if you've got a song going and you want to loop it up and listen to it and mute or solo different parts. You can do that for your whole set right here. Okay, so the idea is that you create a channel strip, and then you need one for all the other channels, 1 through 15. So the easiest way to do this is to duplicate the channel, and you could remap it like I just showed you, or probably the easier way is to just come into, let's rename it first just to be clear, channel 2. I've renamed it, come into here, MIDI control, channel 2, and let's just change the channel to channel 2. And for these things. And now if we go into volume pan and select shakers, I can control volume here, and then switching back to channel 1, I'm controlling volume here. Now I can control pan here, switch to channel 2, pan here, so on and so forth. Then you effectively build up a repository of channels that you can import to your sessions. So let's do that now. I have my own repository of channel strips, and I'm going to import that one. Notice that when you do import, it selects all by default. So just be careful to select none, come back, select the channel you want. I'll select channel 2. You notice that I number them all so I know which is which. I'll import one channel. And now when I select channel 2, I can automatically control my volume. Now I have it set up a little bit differently, so you can see that if I go to sends, I have my sends set up on I, J, K and L, and I have 2 FX slots here. I just put an F send bus which goes nowhere, but I can just replace those. And then I have my EQ set up to do all of the other stuff on Pro Q3. So if we come back to the EQ tab, you'll see that I can now use my high pass filter, low pass filter, my low EQ, high EQ, and also some mid side. And again, if I get things a bit out of whack, I just press the reset channel mixer button and confirm, and everything gets reset back to its default values. So once you have a set of channel strips stored in a session, it's easy to import them and get going with full MIDI control using Control and Quantum Composer. Hope that helped. I'll see you in the next one.